Don't tell me you have to take that off first.
Yeah, I'll take the whole cap off. Something you just pry off?
Usually there's 4 bolts here that you can just take off.
So it should be good. Because if it got stuck on the side, then you have to get new ones. But I think we should be fine.
So we're
If it
getting
blows
a
out.
tire fixed.
Yep, getting a tire patched up so we don't have to pay for a whole new set of tires. $20 just for the
$20. We're pretty good on our finances right now, so we can afford $20. That means one person can't eat. Who wants to fast today? Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, all right. Yeah, he said you can't repair it. It's messed up. So the way that it pierced through the tire was just really bad, I guess. So that's a pooper.
Our new tire.
Called the General.
General Phyllis now.
Very weird. Very trippy. You know that this is the spot where all that happened. That's good. Just gonna be reminded.
This morning we woke up and we headed straight to the center of downtown Birmingham and got an opportunity to go to something that only happens once every 3 months in the city, and where a group of policemen, pastors, school board members, and other political and religious figures got to get together and pray for the city on the 20th floor of this bank building sitting in the center of downtown Birmingham.
We've been planted here on purpose in this city by God's sovereign design, and it's His will that Birmingham become transformed, that people come to know Jesus Christ in our community through the gospel, the full expression of the gospel, which is both the proclamation of it and the demonstration of it, serving and loving people so that Christ can be made known and lives can be changed.
Lord God, that we might be able to become more like you.
As we send men and women down to these 7 gates of a city, be it the arts, be it business, be it sports and entertainment, be it media, as we send godly men and women down those lines, the jobs are so overwhelming, and what they need from us is our prayers.
It was so interesting seeing Christians, not only from the church, in the sense of like the pastoral side, but like the other parts of the church, like the actual members, teachers, really coming together and saying, hey, let's pray for our city, let's pray for our community, so that God would take hold of it and transform it to make it better.
It was an amazing outpouring of the community to cry out for the people who they serve and live with every day.
We're trying out. Cover that. No, you did. There's pork crackling strips, fried out pork fat with attached skin. This bag costs us $2, but can kill 80 people. $2 to kill. Oh, there's something wrong with that.
So bad.
Serving size is half an ounce.
I can't even bite it. It's so hard.
This one bag feeds a family of 8. A family of 8, and not only do they get more than enough fat in them, they can survive on this fat for a month. My heart is hurting, and I just licked this.
I think, yeah, I think the common thing we're noticing is that the sedentary lifestyle of sitting in a car for hours is starting to catch up to us, where we, where just even walking around for a few hours is gonna drain us.
Oh man. It's only day 13, and already we are completely exhausted, needing so much more rest than we ever needed. So we're praying that God would fill us with strength, because we are definitely at that moment where we need God to push us. We need God to be with us. We need God to be our strength, because without Him, we really got nothing. We really have nothing on this trip.
We're planning on leaving Philadelphia on Friday, I believe. Well, I think about every college student who is a Christian and cares about social justice in America will be jealous to find out I just got off the phone with Shane Claiborne. Seriously, this is like one of the stops that we've planned since the beginning, that like we really wanted to visit Simple Way. And it's gonna happen the day before we drive out to Philadelphia. Looks epic.
How does it taste since you dug it first?
Oh, man.
Oh, that's what Philly cheesesteaks supposed to taste like.
Good?
I approve. I think Patrick's not gonna make it. I think he's gonna make it. It's
My name's Shane, and I'm part of a little community here called the Simple Way. We officially say that we're a web of subversive friends, and we are trying to spread the vision of loving God and loving people, and both around here in our neighborhood and kind of all over the globe. It's where our community center and stuff was, and it burnt down in the fire. There was a factory that used to be right here, and it caught on fire and burned across the street and burned our whole block down. So each of these plots of land was a house. I grew up in East Tennessee, and I went to school outside Philly here, and then I ended up really getting involved in this neighborhood in Kensington with, particularly in 1995, there was a group of poor and homeless families that were living in an abandoned Catholic cathedral here, and a group of us that were students got involved, and then before long we were moving into the neighborhood and have been living and learning and for the last 10 or so years here. In that old cathedral, we started reading about the early church in the book of Acts, and we saw that in the book of Acts, the early church, it says, was together and held all their possessions in common. No one claimed any of their stuff was their own. They shared everything they had, and it says, "And there were no needy persons among them." This radical vision of loving their neighbor as themselves, and that they are born again, and that means that if one person suffers, everybody suffers, and so that really became our heartbeat.
I think today was the first day where we actually really got to work with people, so I think that was good. Actually being able to get ourselves dirty, not just sit on the sidelines recording people and watching people do what they do.
It's pretty cool today actually meeting Shane Claiborne, actually getting to shake his hand and interview him. But it was pretty crazy. Just to talk with him for short seconds, or to see him, because you sort of get that epiphany where he's just a normal person. And you realize that he's just a normal guy who's only seems radical because he's faithfully pursuing God and what God has just shown him and what God's convicted him to see. There's a need in Philadelphia to reach these people in these urban areas, and God tells us to love them. So what did he do? He just did it.
I wasn't there to see Shane. I wasn't there to see Simple Way. I wasn't there to see one dude who just happens to be an author. I was there to see God, and I was able to see that in the way that this community was responding and being transformed by their work. About half the people who would walk by us, they knew by name and they knew intimately. I don't even know a quarter of the people who would walk by my home that I grew up in. So it was amazing to see how connected they were to the community, and that just, to me, set it apart from a lot of other just service projects.
It's crazy to see how many people found out about this community and suddenly were able to, just say, I want to do this. This is something that I want to not only volunteer for, but really have a heart for. And I think it was just a really very, very organic community where it's just small, but, there's still so much heart